Hey, hey, how's it going? Here we are. I am in Orlando, Florida, for a little work-related trip, and we had this morning kind of off. I got in late last night, probably about midnight, Orlando time. Pretty uneventful flight in. I know you really want to hear that. That's really riveting stuff. Anyway, so we had the morning off. I'm here for some officer training for the union. And this morning I figured I should go and try to hit a comic shop. So last night I kind of looked into it when I was back home a little bit. But last night I kind of did a bit of digging online a little more thoroughly to see what was out there, and came across this place, Coliseum of Comics. When I was talking to them today, I think they said they have 7 locations in Orlando. But this one, there's kind of 2 that are close to where I'm staying. This one, when I looked online, this specific location looked like it had a lot more back issues than the other one. The other one had kind of a big gaming area. And just not as many back issues. And out of a lot of the shops I looked at online, like the ones that were close, obviously I didn't want to take an hour trip to go and find a comic shop. I had to be back for around 12:30 to sign in, to register for the week, basically. This one was probably about a 20-minute cab ride, if that, 15, 20-minute cab ride, which wasn't so bad. The other ones that were close had some interesting things about them for sure. There was a couple of spots that looked really great, just not a ton of back issues, and that's kind of what I was hoping for. Had in the back of my mind that I would come across a dirty old used box of underground comics. No such luck on that front, but this place had some amazing stuff. They were kind enough to... They gave me this stamp card, which I think is kind of funny. I don't know if I'll ever be back or not, but they said it's good for life. She actually filled out one for me, which allowed me to get kind of 10% off my purchase, I think it was. Or was it $10 off? I thought she said 10%, but maybe it was just $10 off. Either way, I got a little bit of a discount on the books that I bought, which is great. The prices were pretty good. They had a really nice wall of kind of higher grade stuff. Some really nice stuff on the wall. But, you know, it's a little out of my price range. I'm hoping to score some of that stuff when we do the big convention. I'm hoping that I'm successful in selling stuff and I can maybe buy a couple of bigger books at the convention, but we'll see how the convention goes. I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself. Anyway, I'm on the app. If you are watching live, I appreciate it. I just can't see your comments. Just as I was finishing up, I took a walk through their graphic novel section and found this Basil Wolverton in Space. Fantastic tales of science, fantasy, adventure. There's a lot of Space Hawk stuff in here. It's Dark Horse. It was cover price, $16.95 US. I don't know what that translates to Canadian currently, but I felt it's in great shape, and I have a lot of this stuff reprinted, especially the Space Hawk stuff. I think I have all the Space Hawk comics that I think it was Eclipse had reprinted. But either way, I mean, I see Wolverton and I just can't resist. His sci-fi stuff is incredible. His art, of course, you know how much I love his art, so I just couldn't resist. I've seen this online before. I think I had it bookmarked at one point, or I was watching an eBay auction about it, but I never pulled the trigger. Again, for mostly the same reason that... There's not a ton of stuff in here that I haven't read. There's some stuff in here for sure that I haven't, but it's great. It's really great. Very happy with that. There's a little write-up on Basil as well, too, at the front. A few pages. There you go, before we get into some Space Hawk. Oh, yeah. By Monty Wolverton, 1997. So there you go. Basil Wolverton in space. I only picked up a few of these Defenders books. When I see them back home, it's rare that I find, and again, I know that I'm looking at U.S. prices here, $5, but still, even with the exchange rate, that's not a lot. When I find Defenders books here, especially some of the earlier ones, I generally don't find them dirt cheap. I mean, I have found a nice chunk pretty cheap, but I feel like I haven't seen these covers back home, so I feel like these are issues that, pardon me, that I haven't really come across back home, which is, pardon me, also why I jumped on them. So issue number 21, number 22, and number 33. The pretty great cover there, so that brings me 3 issues closer to my run. A run that I'm really excited about. I think I picked up 7 issues. I read a couple this afternoon, and it's great stuff. Actually, maybe we'll start backwards. The Losers is something I've been collecting off and on for like the last year. I've got a good chunk of them, a year or so. They had a ton of the Losers, and again, it's one of those series I don't come across that often, and when I do, especially the earlier ones that I'm going to show you here, I don't find them for as cheap as I found them here at this spot. So I grabbed myself a small stack of them. There was a lot that I left behind. There was some where the prices were getting a little high, though, like $15, $20 American. Well, yeah, something like that, $15 American, I think, which is a little too much. It's kind of borderline, you know what I mean? It was more like, because I saw so many, I wanted to get a bunch of them, so I kind of tried to stick to this kind of range, the $5 range. I wasn't successful for all of them, but yeah, no, actually it looks 5, 4. There's one that was $8, one that was $10 that I think is the highest that I went. So here we go. This is number 166. If you don't know this series, I highly recommend it. I'm not a huge war comics fan, but there's something about these Losers stories that I really, really dig, and the art is incredible as well. This is 165. I know that Sleepy Reader is collecting this as well. 163 for a mere $4, and again, none of these covers I've seen before in my digging throughout Winnipeg, and I pretty much hit all the spots. Even ones that are in like $1 cover falling off kind of shape, I haven't seen these particular issues. 160. Great cover here, 127. A present for the Losers. It's great cover. Kubert cover, right? I believe so. Don't see. Oh yeah, there's the signature down there. This is one that I read. I also really love this cover as well. They're going to be court-martialed in this story, and unfortunately, I didn't find issue 123, their first appearance in the Our Fighting Forces series, but I did find 124 right here for $7.50, which ain't too bad, and it's in, again, all these are in pretty nice shape, and another incredible cover there. So that was a really, really nice score. Very, very happy about that. And you know me, I can't resist. Again, a lot of these I've seen back home, but for the price, I just couldn't resist. There's a couple that are in pretty rough. Now that I'm, once I got back and was looking through them, even this one is kind of borderline for me. But it was 3 bones. 119, got about 6 Daredevil books, I think. They had a lot of really nice early issues on the wall, but they were just way too expensive. Issue number 90 for $7. Great picture frame cover. Issue number 79. Issue number 78. Issue number 63. And finally, issue number 64. Oh, kind of backwards there. Whatever. You get the picture. Issue number 64. So there we go. Another dent in the good old DD. And finally, I couldn't leave it. It was $2. It was the only one that they had. They did actually have a section for Comics Journal. So I guess at one point they had bought a collection with a number of them. Couldn't let it go for $2. Had to rescue this sucker. And surprisingly, an issue number 3 of Comics Book that Marvel put out when they were trying to kind of tap into the underground comics market. Yeah, I don't come across these at all. I don't think I've ever seen these back home. They had a pretty good selection of magazines. When I was talking to them about it, because once I found this, I would look through the magazines first. Once I found this, I just went up and asked, hey, do you have... Because I thought it might be a place that would have the box kind of hidden away if they did have undergrounds. And she was telling me that they come across them every once in a while. Not that often. They do end up buying a lot of collections, which is why their back issue section is so healthy. But any undergrounds that they maybe once had, she said they usually get mixed in with the independent books. So I had a quick look through the indies, just kind of hit some of the main titles like Zap and Slow Death and Freak Brothers, and didn't see anything, so I didn't dig too much into the indie section there. But cool to find an issue of this. Yeah. So that's it. So again, that was Coliseum of Comics. For those of you who are in the area, or if you ever do come to visit, it's worth checking out. Again, it's not a place if you're like me that kind of wants stuff that's off the beaten path. That's what really kind of excites me about traveling to other cities and finding shops where there's just this crazy selection of books that I've never seen before. But pretty good prices for what they do have when they're carrying more of the mainstream stuff. Really, really nice store. Really nice people that worked there. She was kind enough to call a cab for me about 3 or 4 times. I don't know what it is about Orlando, but it's near fucking impossible to get a cab. I think I ended up waiting for like 45 minutes for a cab to come out to get me. Anyway, it was a good trip. Really, really great stack of books. I was putting this on Twitter last night. I'm currently finishing off this Miss Tree, so I got that stack of Miss Tree or Ms. Tree stuff, and they reprint the first, I think, 4 issues of the series that I got in this book. But what they have in this graphic novel, so the reprints start here for the series that I have. What the first half of the book contains is the stuff from Eclipse magazine, of which I don't have all of them. Unreal. I'm really, really enjoying Ms. Tree. So this is a really good collection. I'm glad I scored it. You've seen it in a video before, but anybody who wants kind of a good pulpy, hard-boiled kind of crime to some degree. I mean, there's definitely like a bit of a Mickey Spillane kind of vibe to it, but apparently when I was reading a little bit about from the Wikipedia page about Ms. Tree, some of the tackles that they end up touching on in later issues are kind of a little more risque. She is pretty violent later in the issues too. There's a sense of that in this book, but I guess she doesn't just kind of get away with this violence. She gets reprimanded for it. The one page that I loved a lot was this. Michael, what are you doing here? Can I come in? Of course. What's up? Your hands, fucker. It's just really, really great. And then this, I don't know if I can ever get rid of the sick feeling I have from having made it with you. I could use a bath right now. Maybe a blood bath would do. Really just great stuff. And the art is pretty outstanding. They talk to Terry Beatty, is that his name? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They talk to him, or he does a little introduction, and he kind of mocks his art a little bit, his art style, because he says, especially through here, you can really see his style developing. And there's some pages that he kind of cringed looking at, but when this collection came out, he specifically says in that little write-up that he didn't do any touch-ups, he didn't do anything, he wanted the work to exist as it existed, even though he had the opportunity to kind of go back and touch up some things. He didn't. He wanted it kind of, for the completists out there, he wanted everything as pristine as possible, or as not pristine, but how it originally appeared. He didn't want to fuck with it. So yes, I highly recommend it. Really, really great read. I'm just about done. I've got not much left, kind of down to the tail end of this book. Pretty cool story so far. I'm really looking forward to digging into the rest of the issues. Larasa had posted on the video before when I talked about Ms. Tree that in her digging, she said that there was 50 issues. And then I found out there was also a mini-series through DC as well, which I have yet to look for, but I'm hoping that rears its head at the convention coming up at the end of the month as well. Alright, people. Thanks very much for tuning in if you did. And yeah, I'll talk to you next week.